What do I know, right? So, they're saying the reason my main server is down is due to the update that got pushed out by FunCom that basically broke a lot of stuff. Now the problem is with that statement that that would also mean that my server should have been running earlier when it was running for a while with the update installed and running fairly well. Granted, there are some glitches with some of the mods, but this area right here on the main server is where our iron mine is. Went ahead and came here because I need iron ore a lot. So, these rocks give you iron ore. Rocks with a grayish black texture, which I don't think I've got any here, give you, what do you call it? Coal. That right there and that right there are two rock noses. They're not really that tough. They're just kind of inconveniently placed for what I need, which is most of the iron that they've got around them. So, that being said, they are also a lot stronger than I am, as you can tell. I don't know how many arrows I've got, but I'm betting it's not enough. And my character's combat ability, well, it's almost non-existent at this point. Other than the bow. Which is not what I intended, but it is what it is. You can tell the AI is not the best in this game. They will continue to come back as long as they think they can get anywhere near you. However, once they decide they can't, they will despawn and go straight back to where their spawn point is. And the big problem is once they head back to that location, they start healing back up.
Yeah.
Now then, in order to harvest here, you need a pick. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let him kill me. Sad part is, on the main server, I can kill these guys in one shot. With a bow. I'm doing that.
Die!
more pass, and I should be good. There we go. These things are basically living rock golems. Well, kinda. They're inconvenient as hell. I don't know what the spawn rate is on this server either. So I'm not exactly sure if killing it's going to make it come back faster, or if I would have been better off just running away and living to fight another day. But at this point I need too much of this stuff that I can't get around where my camp is. So I had to run all the way up here to this cliff, which gives me the ability to show you the cliff before the camp was here on the other server. I just want to get enough to make a few weapons and get a few benches built. Iron becomes a very big thing in this game. It's kind of like in Valheim, really. The red border around my screen, you're seeing that because I'm hurt. Pretty bad, actually. I'm down to 32 hit points. And my pick broke. Now, because it's something that I made, I should have the ability to repair it in my inventory. See the lights off in the distance? That over there is the summoning place. Up there is where you fight the albino bat. Which I want to say is where you unlock the staff that you find in the dregs, as long as you have the demon blood. So, at some point in the future, I will probably come back here and build a small shack here. By small shack, I mean like a one-room building and maybe a couple other things, and that's about it. I'm not going to build like I do on a server with multiple people because there's no point in it. We treated this base as a purge base, so we built up the area to deal with the old purge system. New purge system works a little differently, so we've had to revamp what we've done. Not a big deal, but kind of a big deal, if that makes any sense. Now, with health items in this game, you can't really, how should I put it, spam them. You can only use X amount at any given point. So, something to consider whenever you're running around trying to do stuff. The benefit to having all Stone Age weapons is that you can repair them out of your inventory without having too much of an issue. Now, once you get to the point where you're making Iron Age weapons, or iron weapons, you have the added inconvenience of trying to smelt, maintain, gather, and keep material. And it goes pretty much all the weapons as you go through this game. You're always trying to get a step up in weaponry, gear, especially as you advance north. You're going to need fur and everything you can imagine. Now, my character's current stamina is relatively low. So if I want him to be able to carry more, I have to go over here to attributes, and I have to assign more in this category here. But you'd think you would assign it up here. And it does slightly increase how much you carry, but expertise is really what really sets that apart, if that makes any sense. So, I'm still holding on to points, trying to figure out what comes next. As you advance up, you unlock different building materials, and as you unlock different building materials as your character advances through the different journeys, and you complete basically different quest lines. Let's see, I've done that, but it doesn't say that I have, and I've done that. Well, I haven't placed the tannery yet, so I've got to do that. I haven't done that. I guess I could do that. Alright, let's see now. What was it? Bonfire knowledge. For cooking. Can't be unlocked for another level, so there's no point in that. Rabbit pen for this. This is actually from a mod, and it really goes to fix your food issues whenever you have a large settlement of people that you have to take care of. I can get that. I can get that. Um, hmm. Let's check in here, and we will pick out. Right there, because we need better arrowheads. Alright, so anyway, now that you've seen me fool around with this for a little while, I will bring you back in a bit and hopefully be able to show you the base over there shortly. Hello. So welcome back to the main server. This is my character on here. Sorry it took so long, but well, for you it won't look like it took so long, but for me it took about a week and a day to get the server back up and running after the last patch. What happened is the server built up, I'm going to say, cache issues because of either mods that were improperly formatted, you know, not brought up to date for the right server, or because the coding that FunCom uses for their server control got compromised in some fashion, because on the back end to me it looked like the server had issues where the caching was just not there. So in order to fix it, I had to wait for the patch to come out, and then when the patch came out it still didn't work. So for the better part of a day I went through and I started rearranging the mods, altering the mod load order, removing mods on the server, reworking all that stuff to get it up and running again. By about 8, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, my time, I managed to get it going. And the result, it worked. The only thing is, because of the way I had to do it, some of the items we had in game are now gone. Well, they're not gone, they're just deleted from our inventories or removed from the actual places where they were placed because, well, when you go about removing mods and restarting, refreshing your server periodically to get the cache to clear out, what happens is you basically uh, force those mods to restart and the server wipes any information about them. Now ahead of us is where on my private server I showed you the iron mine is. And as we're walking there, you can see it start to slowly come into view and slowly come into light and slowly come to life ahead of us. Directly in front of us is the hillside where I was at in the earlier portion of the video. Um, Up there is where the Temple to Set is. Now, we are currently gearing up on the server, or we were up until because the first day of the patch, this server wasn't really that affected by it. We had some lag issues and things like that, but as the week went on, it slowly built up to the point where it caused us to become unplayable to the point where I had to put in tickets to FunCom and to G Portal to try and fix it. So we went through one purge and we failed because of the, well, not because of the defense, but because of the lag spikes we were getting during it that were just like making it so that players would lag out and die suddenly for no freaking reason because your health would go from like full to instantly dilapidated. So we might have overdone it this time in preparing a little bit, but as you can see, we all have been preparing for the next purge that we're going to trigger here by outfitting all of our guards in various forms of armor. Some of them still need a bit of work. Um, Prepping to deal with people coming in. This base was built originally to deal with the original sieges and the original purges that were in the game as of Age of War Part 1. So basically anything that appeared would appear out on this plain behind me or down below or sometimes even over on the far cliff on the far side, and they'd march in here from the desert below or from that area over there, and they would pretty much get wiped out by our archers. As it stands right now, well, we're still in the process of building up, but we're working on it a little bit each day. Eventually it'll be ready. Now, this base is built on the same cliff as the other one, and it's built in a tiered design, which is the way that I build in most of the games that I play, including Fallout 76. And I build this way because I'm trying to go in flow with the land features that they have provided, and because I'm trying to use as few foundations as necessary. I built multi-storied rooms for workrooms because this game, because of the way the camera works, once you start going into one-story rooms like this, it starts feeling a little claustrophobic, and you can really tell whenever you're in them. You guys have been to this base once before if you've checked out any of the other Conan videos. The top portion up here is slowly being converted over to a different tile set that'll eventually work its way down. At least that's the plan, but it's also a matter of having the time and resources to do it at this location because each base is treated kind of like a separate entity we don't really overlap resources from one to the other once it's built up to a certain point. So each base has its own guards, each base has its own food supplies usually, um, and different things like that. We kind of treat them like a city unto themselves. But, it's a nice location. This is Jen's house. Again, I mean, it started off the same as this with the sandstone, and she went ahead um, and converted it over to this, which I think is... I don't remember what material this is. Let's see if I can... Storm glass, I think. Because she wanted the, big open, airy type look even in a two-story build. So, I mean, not a bad design really. We've got our wheel of prizes right here for our guests that we bring over and incorporate into our, wheel of prizes, not pain. That we train as guards and other, you know, personnel around here, and we've got a large variety of things down here. This is where the vault is, by the way. Um, right now, it's mostly full of things like armor and weapons and whatnot, and we've been building out from it, but that project is kind of stalled out for a little bit until I get more materials here, because right about the time that I started doing that is also about the time that the server decided to go wackadoo and not want to work. So, yeah, it got delayed. Um, we have our teleportation grid right there. We have our elevator that goes over here. As you can see, that's the exact same location from the other server. Just way heavily built up compared to it. I built this catwalk going around the outside of this mountain because I wanted to put a temple on top of it. Because in all honesty, I thought it was a cool idea to have a temple, well, basically up in the sky. And this is about as good as I could do where I'm at. So, went up here, built it up, leveled it off, brought in a bunch of personnel to maintain it, defend it. Um, outfitted them with armors that seemed appropriate at the time. And, generally built this place up to be something cool. Now, the only problem we've got with the way this new set of things works is, I'll show you what we have for an issue. On this side over here, we've got the stairs coming up into here. We've got the trebuchet, a few other odds and ends that are over here for the guards to keep them healthy. And the purge is kind of weird. There's the stairs that we're building down, by the way. That, in the fact that it doesn't quite function like you'd expect it to. Like, you'd expect them to throw down their base somewhere and give you a couple minutes to at least prepare and get ready for it. And it might be a setting that I've missed somewhere in the server, but I don't think I have, that would cause that. But like the way this is set up currently, they pretty much just, you trigger the purge and boom, there's a building. boom, there's guys coming out of it. Boom, there's guys attacking your stuff. Or at least that is the way it went on that first buggy run that we had here. Um, so yeah, we have technically an elevator that goes down over here, and we use it to go over towards the unnamed city from this location, which I'll show you on the map where we are. This is where the base is. This is the unnamed city over here. We just recently put in a new teleporter over here to make it a little bit easier to get in and out with followers. But we were just going down, crossing the river at this bridge right here, and going up around and into the unnamed city to do our business in here or go over to Sepimaru. It is a decent area to build in. It is by far uh, a good area for iron. It's the most iron that I've seen anywhere in the game. But it is not my preferred spot to build at. I will show you that in the next video. Yeah, that stairwell's gonna be cool once it's finally done. But because I'm thinking about building a building all the way around it, tying it into it so that it looks like it's like, you know, supposed to be there. But and I may do a video on that later on if you guys are interested in it. But the idea is that all these locations are ones that my friends and I on the server work together to get the materials to at least start off with, up to the point where I'm going to show you the next location, which is over near Chaos Mouth. That one's pretty much mine, because it's well, how should I put it? It's one of those things where I kind of found it and started building there because I wanted to indoctrinate some of the locals into our cause. Our cause being the defense of this other facilities, and, you know, looking for certain priestly types to run temples for us. But yeah. But all the mods will be listed that we're currently running in the server. I'll try and get them all listed at the in this video. And I thank all the mod authors that were prompt and did their best to get their mods up to snuff with a new update. I know that's a pain in the butt. You guys do great work. Some of you are amazing in the stuff that you pull off, honestly. And some of you make the game devs look like total ninnies, which, it is what it is. Bethesda has the same problem. Bethesda has some mod authors that are so awesome that they should probably be working for them, but as soon as you put them at that desk and have them working there, they wouldn't be able to do what they do, which is build stuff that's beautiful and sometimes eloquent and sometimes awesome, because Bethesda has rules, and the rules say that, like, you know, a mod or a development thing goes through a committee and a design process and all this other stuff. And I honestly think they should just hire mod authors to go through, and any game that Bethesda puts out, they should hire a team of mod authors to go through and literally bug test it, give them a list of bugs and mods to fix it, or how it would be fixed based on the knowledge of the mod author. And they would be able to put out games that weren't hot garbage. Because although Bethesda can make some really interesting worlds and tell some awesome stories, they also have the same problem that FunCom does, in the fact that it doesn't matter if you play test their stuff, they still release it and it still comes out bugged as hell for some reason. And I know that's the current state of gaming, but it shouldn't be. I shouldn't have to wait a week to fix my game. I should be able to do it the day that you put out your patch. It should already be there. It shouldn't have to be tweaked or messed around with by me manipulating load order and changing out crap to make your game work because you screwed it up some way. But hey, I understand. Mods are not necessarily made in the interest of the game that they're being created for at the time. That's a load, actually. Most mod authors, anybody that spends that amount of time building something, usually loves what they're building and wants to make it better and add something to it. Whereas most game devs eventually see their job as a job and don't actually love the shit that they're making anymore. It's just something they do day to day. Whenever a bug that can take out a server comes out that should require 45 minutes of coding to fix, and it takes a week, you might want to rethink your Q&A process. But I mean, even Bethesda's better than that. Just saying. And Bethesda's terrible at it, but they're still better than this. So, but whenever this game gets stable, it's way more stable than 76 is all the time. 76 has those wonderful little bugs that are continuous and continually spring up. Starfield has them too. Starfield's are worse. Starfield's a single player game that, according to Todd Howard, they had done it last Christmas, sent it home with their people that worked there to play it. It was buggy, according to him, but it was able to be played on an Xbox. Do you know what that tells me? It was buggy at Christmas, but none of them actually played it, or very few of them actually did, because they didn't actually fix anything that makes sense to fix, because they don't actually play their own games. FunCom at least seems to be interested in the games they make. Bethesda seems to be more interested in getting your money at this point without actually making a product that necessarily is finished. Whenever I was going to buy Starfield for my channel, which is what you're watching this video on, I had intended to buy it and play it day one, and then the spec sheet came out for it, and I realized I would have to upgrade my computer system to actively play it at a high enough rate to where I'd be able to record it and not have to worry about the capture device or software causing me an issue when the game was playing, which is kind of funny because they've locked their game at 30 FPS because of consoles, and PCs have infinitely better resolution and processing, but oddly enough, PCs are the ones that they're saying that you need to get a new PC if you're going to play this game. But I will point out to you that my PC would eat any console that is on the market currently for breakfast. And yet, I need to get a new PC to play their game. But whenever asked about optimization, that's the answer that Todd Howard gives to a really honest question that should be asked to every dev whenever they go and do an interview, especially if it's Bethesda. Because Bethesda's games are not that good. Do you know how I know that Starfield isn't that good? because their design aspects stupid. And I'll give you one example that'll show it the easiest way possible. When you load into your ship from a planet, you go through a load door. You enter into a small box. Then you load, which is the airlock, into the interior of your ship, which is another load door in the game. That could have been one area, period, in your game. It didn't need the second load door. They put it in there because our modular design system says we might actually need to have a little bit more space and blah, blah, blah. It's a load of shit. It's bullshit. When you pilot your ship in space and you're in a dogfight, you are effectively a turret moving around in space. You are not in a spaceship. You don't have maneuverability. You don't have the ability to turn in a way that is meaningful in any fashion. Well, we wanted to use real world physics. We wanted to make it as real as possible, except they didn't. Because in space, inertia is a thing, and in order for you to stop turning, you would have to have counter thrust, and it would have to be way more than what they give you in that game. Well, yeah. And as far as their star systems go, because of the way they did their star systems, you can't fly from planet to planet in a system unless you jump there. And then you're jumping from one instance to another. Basically, think of it like jumping from the inside of one marble into another inside of another marble. And all those marbles are daisy chained together. And then inside each marble is a planet. And inside that planet, well, there's these little areas that you can land on. And on those little areas that you can land on, well, there may be creatures on that planet, and you may find 2 to 4 different species on a planet. Do you know what that is? That's absolutely retarded. Because if you went into a biome of a planet that only had 2 to 4 species, there wouldn't be anything living there. They'd all be dead. Unless it was living on a different material substance than what you understand. Meaning, instead of eating food, they're eating rock. Silicon-based, silicate-based life forms versus any type of organic flesh and blood life form that you would understand or see. But hey, that's just me with a basic understanding of biology, xenobiology, and yeah. So, yeah. They might want to hire some better writers, at least do more research. Apparently 15 to 25 years isn't enough for them. And as far as development goes, I would recommend hiring people in that know how to work with their engine because they don't. So I would recommend hiring in people that, build mods for their engines versus having them do it themselves because they really can't handle it anymore. They haven't done it in years. They haven't done it well. Whenever it takes you this long to develop a new game in a cycle and you can't put out one that outshines your old one because you're creating a platform for people to mod. No, you're creating a piece of shit that somebody's going to mod because it's a piece of shit. Well, we figure they'll use planets. Well, in point of fact, what's going to happen is people are going to take whole planets, create whole worlds. You're going to wind up with a game that's very similar to that book, Ready Player One. And you'll find whole planets of, look, it's Halo. Look, it's Aliens. Look, it's Predator. Look, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what'll eventually happen with Starfield. But it's going to take it the better part of 10 years to get there. And Bethesda's going to have little or nothing to do with it from that point. Except selling shit in their little shop that they shove out whenever they release mod tools to the general populace. we're going to have another game that's going to run forever, like Grand Theft Auto 5. Only it's going to be single player. And they're going to want to charge you out the yang to get everything that they sell. And the stuff that they sell is either going to be great or it's going to be horrifyingly bad. And the stuff that's great, well, the only reason that you're going to think it's great is because they're using assets from their other games, incorporating them into their thing. And it's not going to occupy a quote unquote mod slot in the load order for your game. That's the way they'll sell it off to you. They'll say that this is approved content, so it doesn't occupy a slot. It actually is just another DLC-like endeavor that we have come up with. Ugh, good lord. And one of the things will be for starship parts and space stations, and you'll be able to set up a space station that you can ship all your shit to that you don't actually need or want in game, so that you can sell it off to nobody because the game is just you. The reason why I like this game, for instance, is because the game isn't just me. I had players that they weren't hounding me about the fact that I couldn't get this server up and running. They genuinely missed being able to play together and do the stuff that you want to do together in a game like this. Building things like this, running around, having stupid adventures, misadventures, finding yourself in areas that, you've never been in. I added whole mods just for that purpose into this. So not being able to play with my friends and not being able to play with them bothered me more more honestly than I want to admit. Because I can play this game by myself. But in all honesty, I don't really want to. So, the next game that I'm going to be taking a look at is called Sunken Land. It is essentially Rust meets Waterworld. If you don't know what Waterworld is, look it up. It's a Kevin Costner movie from it's either the late 90s, early 2000s. Don't remember exactly when it came out. But, good film. Highly recommend watching it. Wasn't a good film when it came out. It, was just, it was, eh. It's a good film years later looking back at it. Because they're not going to make another one like it. Probably ever. And if they do, it won't be as filmed practically as this one is. It'll be a lot more CGI. So, I can appreciate the level of work and craftsmanship that went into it. And the jellyfish bites. They got a lot of jellyfish stings in that movie. And I think they had to go through a hurricane or a typhoon. I don't remember which. I can't remember what Hawaii gets. It's one or the other. But anyway. It was pretty bad from what I understand. Seriously, you should check it out. Anyway, if you like this kind of game and you're into it, I highly recommend checking it out. The building in it is very similar to 76. I will try and show that to you next time in the next video, because I will hopefully be building with my other character at Chaos, so I can show you the difference between that and the server. You have a good day, and as always, have fun. And sorry for venting to you about Bethesda. It's just, they really piss me off. It's the level of arrogance that really does it. Have a good day.